Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter number 18, Text number 13. Maitreya Uvacha Soadhikshipto Bhagavata Pralabdhascharusha Brisham Ajaharolbanam Krodham Kridyamano Ahiradiva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Sri Maitreya said, the demon, being thus challenged by the personality of Godhead, became angry and agitated, and he trembled in anger like a challenged cobra. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A cobra is very fierce before ordinary persons, but before an enchanter who can play with him, he is a plaything. Similarly, a demon may be very powerful in his own domain, but before the Lord, he is insignificant. The demon Ravana was a fierce figure before the demigods, but when he was before Lord Ramachandra, he trembled and prayed to his deity, Lord Shiva, but to no avail. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So we are seeing here, this chapter is entitled The Battle Between Lord Boar and Hiranyaksha. So we are seeing here the fight between Varahadev and Hiranyaksha to retrieve Mother Earth. So Maitreya Rishi is narrating the pastime of Varahadev battling Hiranyaksha. We have seen in the previous verses of this chapter how Hiranyaksha challenged Varahadev. He insulted him in many ways. And Varahadev also very sarcastically he replied to all of Hiranyaksha's insults. And when the Lord retorted in that way, it is said here, Saha adhikshiptaha, Bhagavata saha adhikshiptaha, cha pralabdhaha. The Lord, the personality of Godhead, when he insulted him and he ridiculed him, then Brisham Rusha, he became very angry. And his anger, Krodham, Ulbanam Krodham, Ahirad Iva, like the king of serpents, the cobra. So just like a cobra, suppose the cobra is lying there and you go and start taking a stick and trying to agitate it, what will happen? Immediately it will spread its hood and start hissing at you, right? It will become angry. So similarly, just like the king cobra becomes agitated and angry if anyone tries to fiddle with him, similarly, Hiranyaksha, who had been until that time unchallenged, none of the devatas also could stand in front of him. When Hiranyaksha would traverse the earth, we would have seen in the previous verses, Mother Earth would shake, tremble, and the devatas would all run away in fear. So when Hiranyaksha was traversing the universe like this, he found that nobody was ready to fight him. Everybody was running away. So I thought, what is this? There is nobody to show my strength, because he wanted to show off. So then he approached Varunadev and he said, I've heard you are very powerful, why don't you fight with me? So Varunadev said, I am old, I am retired. Please leave me, Baba, don't fight with me. Don't worry, soon there will come one person, Vishnu will come, he will take care of him. So from that time he was searching, where is Vishnu, where is Vishnu, where is Vishnu? So when he came across finally Varahadev, Vishnu in the form of Varahadev, so he was thinking that, I am so powerful, I'll finish off this Vishnu also. What is this Vishnu in front of me? So until that point of time, nobody had dared to stand up and talk to him even. So when he approached Varahadev and started insulting him, Varahadev immediately gave it back to him. And so he got angry. How can somebody talk to me like this? So, Srila Prabhupada is saying here, the Bhagavatam is saying here, that in the purport Srila Prabhupada is saying, that a cobra may be very fierce for an ordinary person. Like I said, if a cobra were to enter into this room, what would happen? Everyone would start running here and there, right? No one will sit here. But if there is a snake charmer amongst us, what he will do? He will not fear. He'll immediately take out whatever that he blows, and he'll immediately start chanting his mantras, and he will subdue the serpent. He simply catch it with his hand and he will take it and go away. Isn't it? Just like in Vrindavan, because we are in the midst of open fields, sometimes snakes come into our campus. So when snakes come, then all the staff, everybody starts running around and everybody is yelling and shouting and all that, and we get some snake charmer. So when the snake charmer comes, everybody tells him, see, it's there in that bush, it is sitting there. So he will go there, he'll put his hand, take it, and he'll have a basket, he'll put in that, and he'll take and he will go. And you pay him something for that. So snake charmer is not afraid of the snake. For him, what is there? It is a plaything. So similarly, Hiranyaksha, a demon, might sometimes become very powerful. He may become extremely powerful. Just like this Hiranyaksha is so powerful, even the devatas, none of the devatas were courageous enough to stand in front of him. Even Varunadeva said, no, I don't want to fight with you. So, a demon may become so powerful, but in front of the Lord, in front of Vishnu, in front of Krishna, they are nothing. So, Varahadev is not, he is not perturbed by Hiranyaksha's strength or his power or his reputation. Varahadev is completely unperturbed because the Lord is the supreme proprietor of everything. He is the most powerful. He is all powerful. And in fact, all power is coming from him. If the demon is powerful, where is that power coming from? Just like when Hiranyakashipu, he was trying to kill Prahlad Maharaj, his own son, 5-year-old son. He tried various means to kill him. Put him into a pit full of snakes, threw him down from the top of a cliff, tried to trample him with elephants. All of that failed. And when that failed, Hiranyakashipu started getting afraid. And he questioned Prahlad Maharaj, where are you getting this power from? None of the devatas can stand in front of me. You are just a 5-year-old kid, and all my attempts to kill you are failing. How have you become so much powerful? So Prahlad Maharaj replied, whatever is the source of your power is also the source of my power, which is Vishnu. So when he heard that, Hiranyakashipu could not tolerate. That is how he said, where is your Vishnu? Show me. Is he in this pillar? And we know the rest, what happened. So, no matter how powerful a demon may become, for the Supreme Lord, he is nothing. And these demons, when they become powerful, they try to harass devotees. So sometimes devotees become perturbed that this demon is there, he is attacking, he is creating so much harassment for us. Just like Hiranyakashipu, so much he harassed Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj was very disturbed. But he pacified himself by remembering Vishnu and Krishna. By chanting Krishna's holy name, he managed to calm himself. So similarly, in all of our devotees' lives, there will be circumstances where we will see some demon become very powerful and he will harass devotees. The harassment may last for several years. But finally, when the Lord decides to vanquish him, then nobody can come in the way. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning the pastime of Ravana. Ravana was another demon who was so powerful. He was so powerful that he wanted to build a staircase directly to heaven. He was thinking, what is all this punya, ginya and all, you have to go to heaven. I will build one staircase, let everyone go. What, only Devata should enjoy heaven or what? So he started building a staircase to heaven. He was so powerful. And he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And because of pleasing Lord Shiva, he had become very powerful. So when the battle between Ravana and Lord Ramachandra was going on, the fight was raging. And on one side Ravana, on the other side Ramachandra. And arrows were being exchanged, weapons were being aimed at each other. The fight was going on. And one by one, slowly all of Ravana's weapons were getting destroyed. So his chariot got destroyed, his horses were destroyed, his charioteer was finished, his flag was cut off, everything was finished. And then his bow also broke. So then Ramachandra fixed his last arrow on his bow, and he aimed it at Ravana. And Ravana knew, oh, this is the end. Now, I cannot protect myself. So he immediately remembered Lord Shiva. And he started calling out to Lord Shiva, "Oh Shiva, please protect me, please save me." So Lord Shiva was sitting in Kailasa, sitting with Parvati Devi. So Lord Shiva heard Ravana's cry. Ravana's cry reached up till there. But Lord Shiva was unmoved. He was silently sitting. So Parvati Devi, naturally because she is Lord Shiva's wife, so she has she has that little bit of familiarity with him. So she said, "What is this? You are sitting here, your devotee is crying. Go, no, do something." Just like wives will tell husbands, "No, what useless fellow sitting there, do something," no, like that. No, like that, Parvati they will tell, "What is this? You are sitting here, your devotee is crying, why don't you go and do something?" So Lord Shiva replied, "Devi, what can I do? The Supreme Lord Ramachandra has decided to kill him. What will I do going to there? The Lord has already decided, I cannot do anything, sorry." So Ravana was crying and crying for Lord Shiva's protection, but in the meantime Ramachandra fixed his arrow, released it, and Ravana was finished. So even Lord Shiva refused to protect Ravana because he knew that now that Ramachandra Bhagavan, he has decided to kill Ravana, even I cannot protect him. Srila Prabhupada used to often quote that saying, "Rakhe Krishna, mare Krishna, rakhe ke." Rakhe Krishna, if Krishna wants to protect someone, mare ke, who can kill him? Just like Krishna wanted to protect Prahlad Maharaj, even Hiranyakashipu could not do anything. And on the other hand, mare Krishna, if Krishna wants to kill someone, just like Ramachandra decided to kill Ravana, rakhe ke, who can protect that person? Nobody can protect. So, the demons become very puffed up by their own power and strength, thinking that they are all powerful. But as devotees, we should not become puffed up whenever the Lord invests certain power in us for executing certain services. So as devotees are always humble, and they know that the source of my strength and power is Krishna, is Vishnu. So they always treat that power which is invested in them by Krishna with a lot of humility. Another thing that we can notice here is that Varahadev also became angry, and Hiranyaksha also became angry. Both of them became angry. So what is the difference between the Lord and the demon? So the difference is that when the Lord becomes angry, his anger is for the welfare of the living entity. The Lord, for the welfare of the demons, he becomes angry with them, so that by his anger he can punish them, and by that punishment they become purified of their offenses and they can become liberated. Whereas the source of anger for the asuras, it's something else. Actually, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 62nd verse, 62nd and 63rd verse, Krishna explains what is the source of anger for the non-devotees. So Krishna says in the 62nd verse, "Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate, sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodho vijayate." While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. So the source of anger amongst non-devotees is the desire for sense gratification. So because of the desire for sense gratification, when a person contemplates on the objects of the senses, he develops attachment for them. He wants to fulfill his desire to gratify his senses. And then and out of that and from such attachment, when he lusts after satisfying that desire, eventually that lust becomes frustrated. He is not able to fulfill that lust to the fullest extent. Then because of that frustration, anger arises. Now, when a normal conditioned soul becomes angry, Krishna explains further in the next verse what actually further happens. What does that anger lead to? Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibramaha, smriti bramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger, delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So we can see here, Krishna is describing the danger of becoming subjugated by anger. Actually, in fact, a little previous to this, in the 58th verse, Krishna mentions, Yada samharate chayam kurmo angani va sarvashaha, indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell, is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. So Krishna in the 58th verse, he spoke about Dhamma, controlling the senses. That we all have to control our senses. The senses cannot be freely left to enjoy the sense objects. Now, Dhamma entails gross control of the senses. Whereas in the 62nd and 63rd verse, Krishna is speaking actually of Shama, controlling the mind. One is the force of the senses which impels us to enjoy the sense objects. And the second is the force of the mind. The mind generates certain desires. So if the mind is uncontrolled, then it finally leads to anger, and anger leads to further entanglement in this material world. So, Shama and Dhamma. Dhamma is important, Shama is also important. If we do not control our senses, if Dhamma is not practiced, Krishna says what happens in the 60th verse. He says, Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipashyatah indriyani pramathini haranti prasavam manaha. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So even a knowledgeable person, even a person who is a person of discrimination, not an ordinary person, vipaschitaha, a person of discrimination, a learned person, an intelligent person, a person who is a jnani, even such a person, if his senses are not controlled, what will happen? He will be led to destruction. So, one is Dhamma, another is Shama. As we read in the 62nd and 63rd verses, if a person does not practice Shama, he may very well control his senses, but then if his mind is not controlled, then that will eventually again lead him to destruction. So both Dhamma and Shama are important. Now, in the case of devotees, what happens is Dhamma is very easily practiced. We follow the 4 regulatory principles strictly, then automatically Dhamma is practiced. But then Shama is something which we consciously, we may miss out in practicing. Dhamma is very conscious, we'll consciously follow. I should avoid onion, garlic, I should not eat meat, I should eat only Krishna prasadam. Very easily we can follow. But Shama is something which many times may miss our attention, that we have to control the mind also. On one level, controlling the mind means we do not allow the mind to dwell on material sense objects. On a higher plane, Dhamma also means that we cannot allow the mind to think whatever it wants. Sometimes devotees get carried away that no, according to me it should be like this. According to me we should do like this. And then when things don't happen according to the way they are thinking, they become frustrated. And they start thinking, what is all this? I thought I came to devotional service thinking that everything will be nice here, but there are so many problems here. This is not okay, that is not okay. And finally the person will lose his interest in Krishna consciousness. So, in the case of devotees, we have to be very careful to practice this shama, this control of the mind. Sometimes this uncontrolled mind will generate some thoughts which will seem almost like devotional service. It will look like devotional service only. Sometimes devotees think, no, I should do something big for Krishna. And we give them some service. What is the small service you are giving? I want to do something big. Give me some bigger service. So, actually, if one has such a mentality, even if one becomes a pure devotee, one will not be able to have permanent residence in the spiritual world. One will have to keep coming back to the material world. Because if we have that desire, I should do something big for Krishna, Krishna will say, okay, you continue doing that in the material world. You be there and you keep doing big things. Such people will generally become devatas. They are pure devotees, but they become devatas because they have some desire to serve Krishna in some big capacity. So Krishna says, okay, remain in the material world and do big things. So, a devotee of the highest order will generally will not have this kind of thought. If we look at the Brajavasis, why are they considered the topmost devotees, even above the Devatas? Why? Because the Brajavasis, they have no desire other than to please Krishna. If Krishna is pleased by my doing some small service, I will do that small service. I will be happy doing that small service. If Krishna wants me to do some big service, then I will do that big service. I am not attached to doing something big or small. I am attached to pleasing Krishna. This is the mood of the Brajavasis. And we can see that very strongly reflected in Prabhupada's life also. When Prabhupada was going to the US on the Jaladuta, he wrote the poem Markine Bhagavata Dharma. So there, Prabhupada says, Prabhupada prays to Krishna, saying that, you have brought me to this land of the Mlechas and Yavanas. I do not know whether I will be able to convince them about Krishna consciousness. And then Prabhupada says, make me a success or a failure, as you wish. You see, Prabhupada did not pray, Krishna, I have come here to serve you, please make me a big success. Prabhupada is saying, make me a success or a failure, as you wish. And Prabhupada says, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. You see, this is the mood of a devotee of the topmost order. He is not attached to doing something big or something small. He just sees what Krishna wants. If Krishna is happy by my becoming a failure, I'll become a failure. If Krishna is happy by my going to Naraka, I'll go to Naraka. If Krishna wants me to go to Swarga, I'll go to Swarga. Doesn't matter where I go. The central point is pleasing Krishna. And this is the mood of the devotees in Goloka Vrindavan. Therefore, those devotees in Goloka Vrindavan are always respected everywhere. They are glorified by all devotees, by devatas. Everyone glorifies them, they respect them, they look up to them. They aspire to become like them. This is the standard of the highest order of devotees. And the same thing is what Srila Prabhupada has taught us, and the same thing Prabhupada demonstrated in his life also. So we as devotees following in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps, following the example that Srila Prabhupada has set, we should try to satisfy Krishna and Srila Prabhupada in whatever service we are given. It's not that we have to do something really big to satisfy Prabhupada and Krishna. Even the smallest thing, just cleaning the floor, you do it nicely, it's enough. Krishna and Prabhupada is pleased. If Prabhupada and Krishna are pleased by my cleaning the floor, I'll keep cleaning the floor all throughout my life, no problem. This is the real mood of a devotee, and one has to train one's mind to accept this mood and practice this mood. Otherwise, mind always wants to do something which will gain lot of attention, lot of puja, pratishtha, labha. So if I do some big service, many people will come and congratulate me, many people will come and praise me, that is very pleasing for me. Therefore, I want to do big service. So, the mind always tends towards these things. So, actually in our conditioned stage, if we think that I want to do something big for Krishna, actually the motivation is not pleasing Krishna. The motivation is I want to do something big so that everybody will appreciate, that people's attention will be there. Right now I'm doing something, nobody comes to know about it. What is this? I'm going inside the Astan Pujari room, something I'm scrubbing, nobody knows, nobody sees, nobody appreciates. So that's not the point. So we should be careful. So this will look almost like Krishna consciousness. It's serving Krishna only, what is wrong? But actually behind that there is another thing going. So we have to be careful about this. What we think, we have to control, we have to train the mind to be satisfied in whatever service is given to us. Actually, Krishna explains in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I'll read that verse. Yes, atmaratireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha atmasantushtastasya karyam na vidyate. So, for a person who is engaged in devotional service, what happens is we devotees, we do not practice any other duties that we are supposed to perform according to the Vedas. According to the Vedas, we have so many ranas to fulfill. Ranas to parents, rana to one's forefathers, rana to one's to the devatas, to the teachers, to the rishis, etc., etc. So many people, we have so many kinds of ranas. But then what happens is, we don't follow any of those. Actually in Kali Yuga, nobody follows any of those duties. Instead, it is said that in Kali Yuga, we have to simply serve Krishna. Right? Now, if we don't perform our duties which are enjoined in the scriptures, actually one becomes liable for the reactions to those sinful activities. It is considered a sinful activity not to perform one's duties. Now, as devotees, what happens is, if we do not find full satisfaction in performing one's devotional service, whatever is assigned to us, then actually we'll also become liable for not performing those material duties. That is why Krishna says, yes atmaritireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha atmanyeva santushtasya karyam na vidyate. Karyam na vidyate means a person does not have to perform those duties. Who is the person who does not have to perform those duties? This is the 17th verses. One who is taking pleasure in the self, number one. Number two, one who is illumined in the self. And number third, one who rejoices in and is satisfied with the self only, fully satiated. For him there is no duty. So, until and unless we come to the point where one is completely satisfied in performing whatever duties are assigned to one by one spiritual master, then until that point, one cannot be free from the obligations to perform one's material duties. So as devotees, we should train our mind to be satisfied, to take satisfaction only in performing the assigned duties to us in whatever service we are doing. If we are not feeling that satisfaction, then we have to understand that I am going to get the reaction for not performing all my material duties. So, this is another important thing that in the practice of Shama, that devotees have to diligently follow. So, if one practices the controlling the mind in this fashion, if one practices Shama, then naturally one's mind will not try to find satisfaction in the sense objects. And when our mind is not engage in trying to satisfying the sense objects, there is no question of frustration of one's attempts leading to krodha or anger. And thus one can be safe from the dangerous effects of krodha. So these are some of the points which we can glean from this. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Yes, please.
A devotee is denying some, you said that if a devotee is denying some services, discriminating the services, and in the future he may become a pure devotee, you mentioned. So how does the devotee who discriminates the services becomes a pure devotee?
I didn't get the question. What was that?
So you said in the class, if a devotee is denying the menial services, want to do some big services. So in the future, if he becomes a pure devotee also, he'll become devata in the material world. So how does the devotee who discriminates the services and he can become a pure devotee?
The point is that desiring to serve Krishna in any way is also devotional service only. It's not that it is not devotional service. If somebody desires, I should serve Krishna in some big way, it is not out of the ambit of devotional service. Because of one's past conditioning, one may have that ambition to do something big. So you dovetail that desire in doing something big for Krishna. Nothing wrong in that. But then one has to go beyond even that. One has to go to a stage where one will be simply interested in serving Krishna's desires, whether as a success or a failure. So, such a devotee, when he becomes completely liberated, he will go to the supreme abode. He will go to the Goloka Vrindavan. So that is the point. So, desiring to serve Krishna in some big way, it's not that it's not devotional service. So that is also devotional service only, but it's not devotional service of the highest order. The main point is, when higher than that is to desire to serve Krishna according to his desire. That is even higher than desiring to serve Krishna in some big way. Is that okay? Any other? Yes, please. Taking pleasure in the self, what it actually means. When we say taking pleasure only in the self, what it means is that one, like Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport to that 17th verse, I'll read that. Actually, those three things that Prabhupada mentions, Krishna mentions, Atmarati, Atmatripta, and Atmanyeva Santushta. These three are connected. So, Atmarati means a person, when a person engages in, when a person, Atmarati means one who takes pleasure only in the self. A person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his acts in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being Krishna conscious, all impiety within is instantly cleansed, an effect of many, many thousands of yajna performances. So actually Atmarati means a person who understands that he is not the body, he is a spirit soul. So he is interested only in spiritual subject matter. He is not interested in satisfying his senses. Right? So he is not interested in searching after the sense objects. He is more interested in understanding about himself in spiritual subject matter. So such a person is said to be taking pleasure only in the self. And when one engages in devotional service to Krishna with that understanding that he wants to, with that keeping away the desire for sense gratification, then what happens is, by such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. His duty thus becomes self-illuminated. So, Atma Tripta, Srila Prabhupada is translating Atma Tripta as one who is illumined in the self. So, illumined in the self meaning when one is engaged in understanding, when one is engaged in spiritual pursuit and one engages in service to Krishna, one understands that, oh, I am a servant of Krishna. This is my true position. So, such a position is called self-illuminated. Means he understands that he is a servant of Krishna, he is a part and parcel of Krishna, and he has to serve Krishna. And such a person, Atma Santushtaha, he is satisfied with the self only. Meaning, he is fully satiated. Meaning, he is satisfied. So first is he does activities only related to spiritual subject matter. He is not interested in sense gratification. That is Atmarati. And as an Atmarati, when one understands that I have to serve Krishna, I am a part and parcel of Krishna, then he becomes self-illuminated. Atma Tripta. And when on that platform of understanding I am part and parcel of Krishna, one is completely satisfied by serving Krishna. Oh, I am part and parcel of Krishna. I do service for Krishna, I am fully satisfied. He has come to a final conclusion. He is no more searching. There is no more search. What am I supposed to do? What are my duties? Nothing. This is the final thing. By serving Krishna, everything else is performed. So that is the level of satisfaction that a person feels. So then that person is called an Atma Santushta. So that is a person who is satiated only with the self. So one is taking pleasure in the self, one is illumined in the self, and finally one is satisfied with the self. So these are the three things. It's a progressive state, yes. Not necessarily, because devatas, there are many kinds of personalities amongst devatas also. They are all devotees. Some of them are sakama bhaktas, some of them are pure devotees. Devatas are all kinds.
Brajavasis also come in these three categories.
Brajavasis, of course, they are not only satisfied in serving Krishna, they are serving Krishna out of full love. So they are beyond even this stage. Right? You see, the difference between the Brajavasis and a normal devotee is, a liberated devotee is. A liberated devotee still has a sense of duty. He is performing his service to Krishna out of a sense of duty. I am a servant of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, so I have to serve him. That sense is there. Whereas in the Brajavasis, they are not bothered whether Krishna is Supreme Person or not. They are not bothered. We just love Krishna. We want to serve him. That's all. So they are even beyond that. So the whole mood is simply out of love. They are serving Krishna. They are in Krishna Prema. That's the stage.
So we are doing the devotional service in the footsteps of the Brajavasis.
We have to follow in their footsteps.
Following their footsteps.
That is the standard that Prabhupada has given us, and that's what we have to. If we simply follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, if we study his books properly and understand Prabhupada's mood, just like I was explaining the poem that Prabhupada has written. So if you understand Prabhupada's mood and follow that, we'll be following the footsteps of the Brajavasis. Because Prabhupada has given us the ultimate thing, nothing beyond this. There is nothing over and above what Prabhupada has given. Simply we follow Prabhupada's instructions, read his books nicely, and understand that Prabhupada's mood. Then we will actually Prabhupada is giving us residence in Goloka Vrindavan. Not even Vaikuntha Loka, not in any of the other spiritual planets. He is giving us opportunity to go back to Goloka Vrindavan itself. That is what actually Prabhupada has given us. It is the ultimate that Prabhupada has given us. We can never appreciate enough the glory of what Prabhupada has given us. Yes, please. Final question.
Prabhu, just wanted to know if can one take for granted that whatever service comes from authority is perfect?
You see, to be able to accept whatever service is assigned to one as coming from Srila Prabhupada requires a lot of surrender. If one is actually sufficiently advanced in Krishna consciousness and one has surrendered sufficiently to the spiritual master, whatever service is allocated to one, that is actually, it will be coming from Prabhupada. Because if you see, in that sense, what is this institution? This institution is set up by Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada is giving instructions to all of us through a certain system that he has set up. There is a temple president, there is a temple commander, etc., etc. There is a hierarchy that is set up in the institution, and Prabhupada has set this up to disseminate his instructions. So, if actually any flaw or any defect that we may see in the services or in the management of the temple actually is resulting from a flaw in ourselves. If we are flawed in our surrender, then to that extent we'll see flaws everywhere. We'll see defects. If we are surrendered to the extent that we are able to appreciate whatever, this is a system that Prabhupada has set up, therefore whatever is coming in this I accept as coming from Prabhupada. The service that is being allocated to me is coming to me from Prabhupada through this system, then actually what happens is, it becomes direct service to the spiritual master. It is as good as Prabhupada directly calling you and telling, this is your service, please do it. So, it all depends on the extent of surrender that we are having towards Srila Prabhupada. That is the whole point. So, it's as simple as that. So we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sitai Gaur Premanande.